Thanks for checking out this horror film review from the Skeleton Crew Horror Podcast. You can find our full archive of every unedited show at horrorphilia.com. Also, subscribe to the Skeleton Crew on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoy the review. Phantasm 5, 2016. Here we are, 5 movies later. We went through every single Phantasm. There is plenty to say about this movie. I think the overall consensus that I imagine a lot of people have is that it's borderline confusing, and I'm kind of mad. I was going to actually read the Wikipedia of this movie to actually figure out what we're watching with this whole transition type thing. I tried to figure it out, and I feel like I got the vibe, and I feel like the vibe is the same as all of these movies, where you're almost not supposed to understand anything, and you're just supposed to go for the ride. But I really wish I could pinpoint what's happening. When he keeps jumping back and forth from being young and recapping to being old and storytelling, and keep waking up in that bed and immediately getting pulled down a hole, like when Mike goes to visit him and he just drags him, he says, "Come on, we have to go," and he walks right into the war zone again, which is the tall man's world. Like, what am I missing, or do you guys not know what's happening?
Well, you want to spoil it right away? It's all explained in the end, as far as I'm concerned. And honestly, why don't you look at parts 2, 3, and 4 if you want to talk about being confused? I mean, this is more of the same, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, all right. I thought you were saying just this movie. I'm like, well, this is par for the course in this.
No, I said it's the same thing.
Oh, but then how come you're questioning it at this point?
I'm not. I was just saying that...
wasn't he, Jamie?
No, well, I was wondering if you guys knew what I didn't know.
I think he was saying, he was asking what we got from this.
Oh.
I think it's totally on par. I'm just wondering what you got from it.
Oh, well, it's really explained at the end as far as I'm concerned, and I'm glad they found a way to do it. At least, I think when we get there, we'll know.
I am curious to see when we get there what you guys think. I don't think we think the same thing. I'm just I don't think we do.
If we don't, it's gonna ruin the movie for me.
Well, okay, then I'm sorry. I will bow and I will. I don't want to ruin the movie for you.
No. This discussion is gonna. It's not. I have to talk to other people about this movie, and this is the first chance I've had. So,
I might even be wrong about that. That's just something that I got from a very brief statement that you made way earlier in a text conversation, and you didn't go into very specific detail. So I'm just thinking that, but I could be wrong. Maybe we do think the same thing, but we'll find out.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we don't want to spoil it right away, do we, Alex?
I don't know. Will it hurt the review if we talk about it in the perspective of knowing? Wouldn't that be the normal way to talk about it? Like, I might actually say better things if I knew what's happening here.
Well, I think it's kind of obvious when you, without coming right out and say it, when you see somebody in a bed and 2 people on either side of them, or not even the second person being there doesn't even make sense. But scratch that aside, that could have been in his mind because that's the answer. It's
but then he was in the car at the end of the movie again. He can't dream while he's dead.
Who said he's dead? Maybe he's okay. Why can't he dream while he's dead? Maybe that's his next existence. Or maybe that's just it's just going to go on, and that's just what we're seeing as the viewer. Just in other words, they didn't want to have it be a somber ending completely, so why not have a little bit of that stuff at the end, especially when they pick up the other girl, which is completely out of left field. It could only be in somebody's head, I think.
Okay, here's this is killing me. The one, I really like the way we jump back and forth in this movie. It's like we're in the home, we're with the tall man, we're in Mike, then we're in the home, then we're with the tall man and Mike. I love how he plays with reality. And is this real? Is this not real? Is this real? Is this not real? And he does it very well in several specific scenes. Like when you see the doctor and the two nurses on the lawn at the end, and then
then he shoot it. They're soldiers. Yeah.
He finally gets his 4-barrel shotgun after talking about it for the whole freaking movie, and then it finally shows up, and then they're soldiers all of a sudden.
Right.
And then it's just it's very back and forth. However, and then it kind of makes you wonder. Is he just batshit crazy? Has he, because he's been diagnosed with dementia, is this all in his ravaged mind? Is this...
Ravager!
Is this all playing through the mind of a demented old man?
Or is his brain just blasted to oblivion? I don't know.
You know what?
Or is it just two?
Oh my god.
That was bad. I hope people actually get that joke.
Or is it just from 1979? No,
but I think there's one thing that, or at least my thought about this, the way I wrap my head around it, is alternate universe. And I really like the idea of playing with him being demented, but I actually think it's all real. I think it's all real, but on several different levels. And I think that comes home at the end when little dude comes crawling back through the portals and Reggie is nowhere around.
Right. Okay. Since we said all this, let's start from the beginning. Just so, because, with a movie like this, I think a walkthrough is very fitting because it just works better, I think, when it comes to these trippy type movies. That way we could follow on some level, and your brain is not going to be mush by the end. As for my point of view, although I was confused, but not to the point where I gave up on it in any kind of way. So what I'm trying to say is I had a great time watching this movie, and when it ended, I felt it was too abrupt, and I could have done another 30 minutes. That's how into this I was, and I thought it was a great time.
Wow,
great ending. I'm not going to sign off on that just yet. I'd like to bounce these things, I think, off of you guys and see what you feel and all that kind of stuff. But I had a great time watching. So I have 3 Phantasms in a row I've had a great time watching. So what did you guys overall, what's the overall consensus on this one?
Get it, Dave.
I had a great time too. I did. I love the way it starts off. I'll tell you one thing. Right off the bat, it reminded me of Part 4. It was like it picked up because they're in the desert, right? Mm-hmm. They show desert shots. I'm like, oh, they're smart for doing that because they give the little recap and they do that. And but yeah, I had a real good time with it. Now the ending is where it's going to get confusing because what I said about the ending, or what I'm going to say, that makes it easier for me to explain a lot of things, and it's a good way to end the series. Now, if that isn't true, then like when the credits hit, my first thought was, what the fuck? That's this. I don't see this as an ending. This is just another movie. Then the next day, the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This was an ending. This didn't really happen, and that's why it makes sense. So now I'm back to square one. But either way, I enjoyed it no matter what. I had a good time with it. There was only maybe 10 minutes of the entire movie where it got a little bit too action-y for me. But aside from that, there is not a weak entry in this series. Every one of these movies in this series, there's only one great one.
Wait, what about Part 2?
I gave Part 2 a 3.5. But, like I said, the first half was confusing. The second half was boring. The third act kicked ass.
Oh, yeah, that third act you liked.
Made the movie. But I still gave it a 3.5. But the thing is, one of these movies is great. And the rest of them, none of them they're all better than average. So that's a pretty solid series, man.
Yeah, who would have thought? We should have a contest. Like, what is the most forgotten great horror franchise? It would be between this, Psycho, Sleepaway Camp. You know, like, there's a lot of franchises that nobody gives a shit about.
Children of Corn.
Oh, well.
Puppet Master.
Wow, I was just going to say Puppet Master. Holy shit.
Amityville.
Are you guys joking at this point? Or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's one more. Critters. Yeah, nobody talks about that.
Ghoulies.
Nobody talks about Nightmare on Elm Street either.
Nobody ever talks about Friday the 13th.
Yeah, we should get into Friday the 13th.
What's that series you say?
It's about, like, it's just I guess a scary day of the year. Like, if the 13th lands on a Friday, it's bad luck or something. And
so it's a magic series that's about bad luck, like Ouija or some shit.
Well, I don't know what the significance is, but years ago, this kid drowned on that day. He was born on that day too, I think. I don't even know, but then his mom killed people on that day, like a massacre.
Oh, so it's a slasher.
Yeah, and then he came back to life, or he never died. I'm totally confused, but
can't be more confusing than this series.
Yeah, I mean, I really got to put more time into those movies to really figure it out. But so this guy just eventually kills people, like, on Friday the 13th.
Wow, let's do a retrospective. How many are there?
Well, 8 in the original series. Then another company took over, and they did, like, 3 weird ones. And he met Freddy Krueger, actually, in the last of those. And then they did a remake. So 12?
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool, let's do it.
Who's Freddy Krueger?
When you go to sleep. Well, I'll tell you about it.
Okay.
When you go to sleep. Brilliant.
Which I almost did.
Oh, you almost did during my explanation. I know.
No. During
that's what
this
I got.
movie.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I hate it, guys. Like, I hate to say it. I do. I was so bored with this movie.
What?
in the middle. Like, I liked the end. I thought that was cool. I kind of got back into it. I loved the beginning. Like, my favorite scene in the whole movie is the very beginning where Reggie gets his car back from the guy who stole his car.
Oh, and he says, "Get the fuck out of my car."
Fuck out of my car. You know, I was like, yeah. Like, I loved that shit, you know. And then I loved the bouncing back and forth that we did. But then in the middle, I was just like, why the hell is this movie still going? Oh, I just wanted it to be over. I kept checking time. I kept making Brian stop the movie so I could go. I was like, just stop the movie. I have to go get something to drink. And then
I have to go make a sandwich.
I'm like, how much time is left? And he's like, this much. And I'm like, fuck. And I was like, he's like, I had to get up again. And he's like, you want me to pause it? And I was like, no, don't bother. And I was so, like, I could have poked myself in the eyes. I just wanted it to be over. And, but then by the time we got to the end, I was back into it. And, like, I liked it again.
I liked it again.
Liked it. But that whole middle part can piss up a rope. I am so did not give one little bit of a damn about it.
Oh, I can't wait to actually get to this and hear your...
I know, I'm sorry, but there were things I really did like about it. Like, I liked the purple dress chick coming back. I loved that car thing in the beginning. I loved all the... It just felt very repetitive to me, and like we weren't going anywhere.
Uh-oh, not that again.
Like part 4 and part 3?
And, yeah, well, I mean, yeah, to be honest, it felt like more of the same. And I'm like, we've done this already. Why do I have to keep doing this? But it was within the same movie. It was just the same shit over and over again. I'm like, why am I doing this still? Why is this still happening? Why is this still going? Can we please get to the end? And when we actually, no, I can't help it. I'm being honest. But if you recall, I never wanted the sequel to begin with. I did not want.
Me and Dave did. We thought it was an absolute necessary.
I was not excited about it. I did not want to watch it. I was not. I wasn't looking forward to it. It was a have to. It was not a want to.
Wow, I couldn't wait to watch it. Usually I watch. Seriously, I usually watch the night before or the day of a review because, my memory is shit. As soon as we got this thing available to us, I watched it 2 nights ago because I couldn't wait to fucking sit down and watch it. I was excited, legitimately excited. And I enjoyed the ride. Like I said, the only time I checked out was in the middle during action, because for me, I only get bored during action sequences, which makes no sense, but that's just, I don't get into them. So there was like 10 minutes of action when they got into that malicious shit. They were running around.
I was totally
checked out.
I couldn't even tell you really what happened at that point because I was mentally checked out.
But they went back and forth so much it didn't matter.
I know there was a midget. I don't know. I mean, Brian actually knows more about what happened in that, and he wanted to watch it even less than I did, but he actually knows more about that part because I was just gone. I was like mentally not even there.
What is going on in that house?
I don't know. I did say that I do want to watch it again. I want to give it another chance. Now that I know how it ends, I'm thinking I might be able to go back and finally get some enjoyment out of it. It was so repetitive. Did you guys not feel like it was repetitive? One other thing, though, is that I think it was painfully obvious that Coscarelli was missing.
No, he supposedly wrote this.
He wrote it, yeah, but that has nothing to do with the direction.
Oh, you could tell he didn't direct it, yeah.
David Hartman, while I believe he put his heart and soul into this, while I believe he really wanted to do it, it's not the same. The cinematography is not the same. It just doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, they should have got Dean Cundey.
Wow.
I just didn't. Plus, it looked like crap.
What?
I mean,
no. I agree with the CGI.
Only
and
the
green
CG
screen.
sometimes.
The CG looked bad, and the whole thing. Because it was shot on video, the whole thing looks like a TV movie. It looked really bad.
I thought it looked great. Holy shit! I was expecting shit. I was expecting it to look shitty because I knew the way they filmed it, and it was over the past how many years? 8 years, and filmed on weekends. So I was expecting it to look like an asylum movie or some shit. Then I watched it, and right off the bat, like I said, when they show the desert scenes,
you can see every rock.
It looked just like Part 4. Like it picked right. I go, okay, this is just like Part 4. That's the vibe they should have, and that's the vibe I got for like half the movie. And I was surprised at how good it looked, except for some of the shoddy CGI, which I'm not going to deny. But whatever.
The worst of it is the green screen behind them. The one time is when the thing Jamie pointed out, when those nurses and the doctor, whatever, were behind them in the mental institution. Then he turns and Mike's on the other side in the war battle zone looking shit, and that is such a clear, obvious green screen with a fake background. I don't even know what to make of it. And what really looked terrible were the balls. They looked like something from like you said, TV sci-fi, something like that. They actually looked better in the 70s, and the reason why is because supposedly they hired believe it or not, I don't know if there's a joke or not, they hired a baseball pitcher to throw these things, and then they just put them in slow motion or something like that when they made the original movies and stuff. So those were actually real, true-to-life balls, and this one was clear, fake, like shit that you have like a low-budget person do. Did you guys notice that, or am I crazy?
How could you not? I mean, it was the first time you see them when they're on the road.
Yeah.
The first time you see the balls, it's just like, fuck. And then I knew I was mentally prepared for the rest of them throughout the film to look that bad, because I'm like, okay, so this is what we're dealing with here. Now, I mean, budget is budget and all that, but Phantasm, the original Phantasm, had like a $17 budget. It looked fantastic. This one was I just did not think it looked good at all. I mean, there were some interesting visuals at a couple of points, but overall, I just was not pleased with the way it looked.
When you see the desert and the road, you could see every single pebble on that road. It was so sharp and clear, and even when Reggie looked old, he looked really old, and I think it was because it was so good looking and all that kind of stuff. But the only time, I think all the true shots looked amazing, but all the rest, like the CGI and the green screen, oh my God. I was like, I'm not even picky like that. I try to suspend disbelief, but holy shit. they did not go all out. Whatever company they picked to do that kind of thing was a wrong choice.
It wasn't. It was bad, but hold on. Let me say something. When I saw the balls and they were flying, and I'm like, okay, they're CG balls. That's the time we're in. What can we do? That didn't surprise me. I wasn't thrilled, but I'm along for the ride because this is 2016, and if you're not big budget, your CGI is probably not going to be great. So I accepted it. But that's just modern times. I mean, look at a slasher from the 70s or the 80s, and somebody getting stabbed and blood coming out looks a million times better than CGI blood squirts now. It's just, sadly, it's the time we're in. It wasn't as bad.
It's cheaper, and it takes less time to do. Yeah.
But I've seen worse in modern day movies, much worse.
Well, so, I will agree. I will agree with that as well. I just don't think it's on par with the rest of the series, and
it's not.
To me, that is a blow. I mean, it's kind of disheartening to come to what is going to be the final sequel of this series. Like, this is it. There is no more. And when you know that that's the case, for it to not even come close to looking as good as the other films, and I'm sorry, it just doesn't. I mean, even apart from the quality, it's just his direction is not Coscarelli direction. It just isn't.
Yeah.
Remember those cunt shots I was talking about?
Yeah, those pretty cunt pictures of the cunt.
You get when the cunt, like, some really pretty shots of the cunt. You get when the cunt, like, some really pretty shots of the cunt. You get when the cunt, like, some really pretty shots of the cunt. You get when the cunt, like, some really pretty shots of the cunt. It just the framing is not the same. It just didn't feel the same. And I thought it was, I had forgotten, honestly, till the end of the film that Coscarelli did not direct it. And I knew that going in, like, forever, years ago. I knew he wasn't going to be doing it, but I'd forgotten that. And I'm watching it and I'm thinking, what the hell happened to him? Like, this does not look like one of his movies.
Why didn't he direct? He could have directed all of them. Why not do the very last one?
I don't know.
Because it was the way it was constructed. That's why, it was...
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. Because there was the way it was, because it took so...
Okay, can you guys fill this all in? Because I am not privy to this information of this 8-year thing. What is this? It took 8 years to film this?
I can't say exactly. Being put on the spot, I don't know. All I know is that I've been hearing stories that it's been going on and in the making, and there's articles all over the place saying that it was, and I don't know if it's 8 years or how many years, but it's been, it's to the best of my knowledge, it's gone over a period of time, and it's just been, it was going to be a web series is what it was supposed to be.
Really?
Yeah, it was going to be a web series, and they were just filming a little bit here and a little bit there, and then they ended up, I don't know how and why, but they ended up making it the last movie. So,
you know what that tells you? That tells you that all these guys are really passionate and these are good people, because clearly all of them are getting scale every single time they do one of these movies. So, like, I don't know, maybe their careers are not, like, booming, or whatever the case, they're all willing to come back here for almost nothing. Every time. And you could say from the mid-'80s to the late 80s to the late 90s to 20 years from that, and they're still coming back for nothing. They're coming back for nothing. And, like, there are some people who wouldn't reprise roles because, for example, and I hate to diss her because we interviewed her and she was very cool with us and everything, but Danielle Harris said even at friggin' 16 years old, she wouldn't reprise her role as Jamie Lloyd because they were only going to pay her scale.
Well, she had a career, and people that, these guys, when do you see those guys? This is all they have. Of course they're going to do it.
Yeah, but there's also, I mean,
it's
if
like
you
Princess
love...
Leia now.
If you love something and you truly respect something, then you will do that. If you have a career, then, your career is paying your way through. You do something like this out of love. Or you reprise an old role out of love and out of respect for what put you where you are. Something she does not have.
I guess she doesn't, because she didn't do it. I mean, like, for example, like, wouldn't you at some point you say to yourself, well, listen, we're all going to be dead. Does it really matter if I got paid an extra $300 this weekend?
Shouldn't. I mean, if you're getting shafted, if everybody else on the production is getting paid like really top dollar and you're getting shafted, then that's one thing. You know, you fight for what you deserve to get. But if this is a production that's being made out of pure love of the game, like pure love of the film, whatever it happens to be, and they're like, hey, look, we really love you. We want you to come back and do this role. And it'd probably be just for one day. You know, or if they want to star it, you know, I mean, usually if they just want like a cameo or something, you know, can you do that? I mean, fuck it, I'd do that shit for free if it was something that really meant something.
Yeah, it's a thank you to the fans, honestly.
Well, Danielle Harris was a kid. You can't razz a 16-year-old that's going to have adults in her ear telling her fucking, oh, you should be making more than scale. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess
a 16-year-old, when I was 16, with a swelled head at all, are you fucking, forget about it. I'd be like, fuck you too.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to defend her, but I'm saying this is the mind of a 16-year-old, you know, with adults saying shit to her. It's kind of different. And these guys have nothing. This is all they have. They better do it. And as far as passion, let me just skip, not to change the subject, but the director here, I think he put his... Jamie, you said it. He did put his heart and soul into it. This guy watched all these movies and is a fan of these movies and stayed true to them in every way. This isn't like, what's his name? Fucking Ronnie Yu, who didn't even watch Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. They made that piece of shit fucking Freddy vs. Jason movie with no soul. This movie here has something going on. The guy that directed it loves Phantasm, and you can tell. That's one of the things I like about it.
That counts for something. I'm just saying it's clear that Coscarelli was not behind the camera. It's painfully obvious. But I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have the heart. I'm just saying he didn't have the skill, or rather, let me retract that and rephrase. The skill didn't show. He may have it, but it was not present when I was watching this film.
Do you really think Phantasm 2 and 3 and 4 were special technically? I could see part 1. That's a Coscarelli. That's like his finest film. But do you really see that big of it? Like, I don't know.
They all feel the same to me. I mean, there's always that. Yeah. Well, I mean, which show was it when I was talking about the shots? It was part 3, wasn't it, or 2?
3.
It was okay, yeah. So even in part 3, I was talking about how I was a fan of
the red background
of you know, his shots of his.
Turn on the red lights.
That's true. I said the same thing. You're right.
That I may be nitpicky. I may be picking about it, but I'm just saying perhaps I would have enjoyed it more if it had actually been him. If I could actually feel that it was him, but like I said, I'd forgotten it wasn't him. And then I was like, what the hell? What is wrong? Something doesn't feel right. And then it got to the end and Hartman's name popped up and I was like, fuck, that's right. You know, I mean, I knew it without even knowing it, you know. Okay, well, that's...
There's a question in the beginning I wanted to ask you guys. This was in the beginning, so this is the time. Reggie said something about, I can use a rocket cock right about now. Is that what he said in the beginning?
Yeah, I think that's what he said, because I actually turned to Brian and said, what'd he say? And that's what he said he thought he said. I don't know what the hell that means.
No clue.
I don't know.
I thought maybe I misheard it and you guys were going to laugh at me and correct me. No, he said a rocket ship or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what he said.
Why? What did he do right before he said that?
I don't remember now the context.
It was right in the beginning. It was before they even had the recap. It was like, remember when Reggie was talking? He goes, I'm Reggie. And anyway, it was before he even got the car back. It was in the very beginning, but he said something about I can use a rocket cock right about now, he said. I don't know.
I feel like I remember why he said it, and it did make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what a rocket cock is. Is that a fucking a dildo, a toy? I don't fucking know. I heard of a pocket pussy, but not a rocket cock.
Pocket rocket.
Pocket rocket? Yeah.
All right, well, he is wandering around the desert, and he says it's good to be home, which I don't know why a guy who's lived his life would be happy to be back anywhere he is. But So he's still in the Good Humor ice cream suit, which is funny. So the probably one of the best sequences of the movie. I mean, this movie really, it starts off so gripping. It really, really starts off with a bang. He's talking about how some jackoff stole his CUDA, and it's weird because even talking about this, it's almost like, I don't even know, are we to assume that he is immediately walking off of, for lack of a better word, the set of part 4, and he's right on to this? Like, are we to assume no time has passed? I don't know. So he expects his car to be there, even though it's 20 years after that. He's walking down the road, and some guy's beeping, and you hear the roar of an engine, and it has to be 20 feet away from him, and he can't hear it. When there's not a sound to be heard in the middle of the desert, somehow he doesn't hear a guy beeping at him for a few seconds, and he finally turns around and looks at him. And the guy, it's funny because the guy who stole his car, he starts off as if he has so much confidence and he's so badass. Hey, asshole, get the fuck out of the road, this and that.
Yeah, didn't he sound like Joe Pesci when he first pulled up?
Yeah, he didn't sound like the guy we looked at when they finally got to him.
Right, I thought it was Joe Pesci. I couldn't believe it. And then they look at it, and it's this fucking jabroni. I was like, what the
fuck? It's a dweeb.
Yeah,
I was like, Dave?
Yeah. Which one was me? The guy before or after, James?
Joe Pesci.
Okay, just making sure. You said it was dweeb.
I want to know why he didn't just go around him. You got the whole fucking desert. Why don't you just drive around the guy?
Yeah, right.
You wanted to extort him for money, man. Although, why does money matter in this stage of the game? But apparently it still does.
Yeah, he's going to go into those rundown towns and buy something. He tells him off. Reggie walks over to the car, and suddenly the guy lost his spine. And he's like a mumbling dweeb, which is really an odd transition for a human being. Like, why didn't he have the confidence? But I guess he didn't have it because the car started sputtering out, so he said, well, I can't get away from this guy, starts beating the shit out of me. So he just, like, backed down. But he still was an asshole enough to ask for money and shit in the middle of a desert, $50 to drive you out of here. So it was pretty cool because Reggie goes, oh, I had a car just like this, and I had I don't know what kind of gun he named, but he said it's right here. So he lifts the middle console, it's not there. He kicks the glove compartment, he goes, oh wait, it's right here. He puts the gun to the guy's head, he goes, now get the fuck out of my car. Like that, right there, I'm like, okay, I'm going to like this movie. So Dave gets his classic balls kill right after that.
Yep.
Dave gets it about 50 more times, but okay, let's just talk about the first one. So the ball comes, it drills into the back of the car robber's head. He goes down, and Reggie...
I thought that was nice.
Yeah. It got odd once we saw the 6th one, but okay.
Which number was the horse?
4.
The horse! I never laughed so hard in fucking so long.
Now, what was the strangest horse scene in a horror movie? When the tall man's balls hit his head and drilled it out. Or now, are you guys gonna guess what I'm gonna say next?
Yeah, the ring.
Wow, you remember that?
It's hysterical. It's another hysterical fucking scene involving a horse. Of course I remember.
You mean when the horse jumps off the ferry?
Yeah.
That's the only part of the ring that affected me.
Wow.
I mean, that's the only thing that got me in that movie when I saw it in the theater. When that horse jumped over the side, I actually cried. And that was the only thing. And before that, I gasped. I was just like, oh! And then, like, I cried. I mean, I wasn't sitting there bawling like it was Lion King or something, but, you know.
It made no sense. That's why I laugh. But now when I watch it, it's not funny. But the first time I saw it, I was cracking up because it just made no sense at all why a horse would go buck wild and jump off the fucking boat, you know?
Oh, you guys are going to kill me. Back then, I don't know when that movie came out, like 2002 or 4 or 5. There was this option on the VCR where you could press a button, A and B, and it would actually just keep on replaying what was between those two when you pressed it.
Yeah.
And I watched that horse flip over and fall about 30 times in a row. And by the time all of us in the room were on the 6th time, we were on our backs on the floor in tears. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Jamie.
No, I don't care. It doesn't affect me that way now.
Okay.
It's just what I saw it the first time.
It is hilarious.
It is. It is.
I thought you might mention the zombie riding the horse in Survival of the Dead.
Yeah.
That was pretty ridiculous, but
I was spared of that movie.
Hey, I love that.
So almost immediately after this whole fiasco in the desert, Reggie gasps and wakes up, and Mike is back in the movie, and he is wheeling Reggie around in a wheelchair in a home where people with dementia go to, because Reggie has dementia. It is what they're telling us. As soon as this scene hit, guys, was it jarring to you to see Reggie that old looking? Because I couldn't figure this out, so maybe you could help me. Did they make Reggie look old, or did they make him look young?
I said the same thing, and Brian said maybe it was a little bit of both. And I said, okay, maybe. That would probably work. But I said exactly the same thing, because I could not decide, does he really look that old and they made him look young, or does he really look that young and they made him look that old? I don't know. And during that scene...
I don't think he looked old at all. I remember looking at him saying, he looks way too young to have dementia. That's what I was thinking. He looked like he was in his fucking 50s. Yeah, I was like, he doesn't look old enough to be fucking having dementia. That's the first thought I got. I'm like,
well, I don't know about dementia. I'm just saying how old he looks. I don't know if that coincides.
Well, the guy's 60. How fucking... Of course he's supposed to look older. I mean...
Is he 60?
Well, think... part 1 was in 79. How could he not be 60?
I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I guess so.
I'm just going by that. So I looked at him, and when I saw him in the wheelchair, I'm like, man, I'm surprised they didn't try to make him look older if they're going with this dementia routine. But, I mean, you don't have to be old to get dementia. That's asinine to say. It's just what I'm used to seeing. That's all. It's just, But I'm sure they gave him makeup, yeah.
Well, during that scene, it was funny because we're sitting there, and, it pops back to him and Mike, and Brian's like, oh, they got Jody back. And I was like, that's Mike. And he's like, what? How is he so old? And I'm like, baby, it's been 37 years.
Yeah, Mike looks old too.
I didn't think he looked that old, and I didn't think he looked all that different from how he did in
4.
4.
That's what I was going to say. Exactly.
I saw a couple more crow's feet in there.
Well, yeah, but he's still the same guy.
Yeah, I know, I'm just kidding.
He has glasses. Now he has glasses.
Yeah, that either he got smarter or older. No, I'm just kidding. That's an old... people say he looks smart with glasses on.
Yeah, I got...
Okay. It just wasn't ha-ha fun. How is it that Reggie gets so much older, yet he never seems to... In all the 30 years, he never lost his hair beyond where he lost it in 1979. He still has the skull. Oh, by the way, guys, I know a lot of people are curious. Yes, we are all still sporting our skullets. We have not grown them in as of yet. We keep buzzing off the top until we are completely done with this retrospective, and as soon as we're done, we're gonna let the top grow out. So just
yeah.
Yeah.
I ran into my stylist the other day in town, and she is pissed.
Yeah.
She's like, what the hell did you do? I'm like, well, there's a reason I haven't been to see you in a while.
Right.
I've been making the most of it, actually.
Oh, yeah? What are you doing? We're running around in red and yellow?
What you gonna do, brother? No, I've been doing stuff with my wife, in the bedroom, involving it, so...
Really?
There's always some ideas. Come on. Yeah, man.
Oh, man, you gotta fill me in so I can do this stuff.
I will. Off camera. Off camera, I say. Off the air.
Yeah, guys, stop looking at us. Okay, so Reggie... So now, at this point, as Dave mentioned, we have other theories at the end of this, I guess. But at this point, Reggie, what we're getting out of this is Reggie's now going to recap the movie for us. So at this point, we're to believe that either Reggie is recapping a dream life he went through, or he's going to recap, in our minds, as a viewer, we feel this is real, regardless of what is going on in this movie. So we think, maybe I'm speaking for everybody and I shouldn't, but we think that Reggie's going to say what really happened, and then we're going to find out why the rest of the world thinks he just has dementia. Is that right? Is that how you guys felt?
Honestly, when Mike said, "Tell me the story," I was like, I thought, and he's like, "From the beginning," and I'm like, "Oh shit!"
Right? Yeah, back to
I just knew
79.
he was gonna go all the way back and tell the whole fucking story, and I'm like, "Oh my god, no!" So then he was like, "It started when," and then it started where he started it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I can deal with that." That's
Wow, Jamie. Wow. I was hoping it was going to go back to 79, actually.
No, we just watched it. I didn't need that.
I don't know. I'm a sucker for shit like that, I guess. I don't know. I like a good recap. Yeah, I don't know. I'm weird like that. You know what? It was really a what the fuck moment for me because through this whole series, especially recently, it's all, Mike is always told that it's all in your mind. It's all in your mind. Fucking.
Yeah, right? And now he does it to him.
Yeah, now it's reversed. And I'm like, so now all this time, fucking, it's in Reggie's mind? I'm like, holy fuck.
When he said that, I was thinking to myself the scene where he said, Mike, your brother didn't die from a tall man. He died in a car accident. That's what went through my mind. So we thought the same thing.
Yeah, and then it makes sense at the end because of the way it ends. I guess that's really what was at play here. It really was all in Reggie's mind. That's what I believe it is anyway, but...
That's what I wanted to think. I thought that would be cool if that were the resolution to everything. I just don't think it was. But that's what I wanted it to be. But at the end, I didn't feel like that's what it actually was. But, although, did you guys notice at one point when he got up off the bench that Mike wasn't there?
Well, yeah, I was going to ask, like, what happened to Mike?
Yeah, it's like he's talking to him on the bench, and then suddenly Reggie stands up, and then Mike's not there anymore. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, maybe this, maybe it is. Maybe I kept going back and forth throughout the whole thing. I was like, okay, he's crazy. Oh, okay, he's not crazy. Oh, he's crazy. Oh, he's not crazy.
He's crazier than a shithouse rat.
I wanted that to be what it was. I did. But then some things happened that I just can't really explain away with that because he wasn't present for it. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense that way. And then I was like, well, maybe there isn't a definitive explanation. Maybe you just do whatever you want with it, which has pretty much been the way this series has run the entire time. So...
You know what? I'm gonna throw something out there for you guys. A brain teaser. Something just dawned on me. No pun intended. How about the girl's name is Dawn in one sequence, and then her name is Jane? What were we supposed to get out of that? We both know it happened, but what were we supposed to decipher?
How do I know what do you mean that? What do you mean that we know what happened? How do you know any of this shit happened? What if
because we watched it?
It's a dream. That's what we get out of it. That's why it makes sense that it's all in his mind. And this is they're totally pulling a Bates Motel. 100%.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think that there is a case for alternate universes or alternate realities.
Well, Mike explained that, right?
Yeah.
So are we supposed to take his thing as we take Paul's explanation in Friday 2? When Paul's given the fire camp story, we're obviously supposed to say...
Fire camp?
Fire camp. Campfire. Jesus Christ. Fire camp story. Wait, you guys ought to all say that?
Did you say some shit like that a year ago today? Like fucking... You were talking about a pumpkin wash or something? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Last October, too.
Pumpkin wash.
Yeah, and I thought it was a car wash, but you said it was like...
That's right.
Wow, a year ago today, guys. How about that? It all comes around, full circle. So Paul's campfire story about Jason. Basically, what he was... I like Jamie loves when I screw up, boy. Let me tell you.
No.
Her highlight is when Jerk Off messes up on the show.
I just think it's adorable when...
Yeah.
Sure. Actually, I was just... And then that whole pumpkin wash thing, I forgot about that. And that's some funny shit. So like a car wash for your pumpkins?
When you're going to go to the wash car with your pumpkin wash in the fire camp. So Paul's filling us in, and it's like he's doing exposition for us at that moment. Now, are we to assume that Mike is doing the exact same thing here? So, because, Dawn and Jane and I'm in a bed, then I'm in a war zone, then I'm young and living the movie, and like, what are, is this all different dimensions and shit? I mean, what are we doing here? It's weird because it doesn't even bother me. I still liked it.
It's the tall man fucking with them, like we said last show. Matter of fact, I listened to the last show today, and I was like, wouldn't that be cool?
With him, that means it's real.
Well, yeah, maybe so. Maybe the tall man is fucking with Reggie, but it's still all in Reggie's mind, but the tall man put it there. You know what I'm saying? Reggie is in his own personal hell, and we are along for the ride with him. And the tall man, shows up now and again, and he actually kind of explained it to him that fucking every tall man needs a toy, and that, so he's just fucking with him the whole movie, and we're getting Reggie's perspective. So that, in a way, it is kind of a downer ending, like we said last show. Maybe that's what happened here. Everyone's in a different little hell of the tall man's,
Well, it's weird. Even when Reggie was recapping his story, how was he able to tell us what went on while he was sleeping? Because there's a scene when he's sleeping, and then you see the sphere hovering over him, and you're like, well, how would he know that to tell that in the story? But then, but it's even the more strange thing is you say to yourself, well, why doesn't it just drill into his head while he's sleeping? I mean, it got in, it opened the front door, I guess, or whatever, and it got in his house. So if it's that close to him, why is it not just killing him? And
that's exactly what Brian said.
It's a toy. That's why, because that's what he said.
Yeah, we found out. Yeah.
He answered it. He likes to fuck with them. That's all there is to it.
So if he's fucking with people, that means he's real.
Okay, thank you. So there you go. That's the other theory. It is real, and this is Reggie's hell. That's what this whole thing is.
Well, doesn't the tall man actually say that? Doesn't he say something that they're both in each other's hells or something like that? Or
yeah, and he says you're my bad dream or something. He said, which is pretty fucked up.
I think we should watch this again. Let's just turn this off. Let's come back tomorrow.
And then he said, one might say we're in it together, he told him, too. And...
but why would Reggie go to hell? Like, wouldn't you think there'd be some kind of characters? I mean, then again, he is an ice cream man. He could have been a child molester. Like, we don't even know.
Oh, man, that brings me to my favorite line of the whole movie is where Reggie is talking about how the tall man took his friends and his job. He took his job. I'm like, your job as an ice cream man?
I was thinking the same thing. Are you serious? He took your amazing... You spent years trying to get to that position, and you finally got to the ice cream guy, and he took it away from you?
Yeah. But then he's also not loyal to his family, but, he is to his friends. Fuck his wife and his daughter, but I want my friends back.
No, in his defense, he does say, I don't need you bringing back a bunch of mumbling zombies. He did kind of justify in implying that if he brought them back, they wouldn't be them. They'd be zombies of sorts.
Yeah, but then he chose. He goes, well, how about just Mike and Jody then? Why would he say, well, how about just...
Because he feels they're at a different level in this. They're not like regular dead people. They're in it. They're on the inside track here. So he knows they could come back normal, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, that would... to me, it makes sense.
I don't know.
like they seem to be in a more fine line of, the whole thing than just the victims of the whole thing. You know what I mean? Or does that not make sense?
I don't know. I don't know the difference. It's just... what I got out of that scene is that he mentioned his friends and his family both being killed by him. And then he said, I want them all back. And he says, no, you can't. And then he goes, well, how about just my friends? That's basically what I got out of it. And I think Jamie did too.
Yeah, that's like me saying, oh, my wife again. Well, how about the guys from Banana Laser? You just bring them back?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just like, fuck my kid. I want some drinking, but I want to be hot as leather.
Dave, hot as leather. Remember they said that? At the end of the jam session, they said, hot as leather.
Hot as leather. That's us. Was it say at the very end, that's us or something like that?
Dave is amazing. Okay, so how about this? This fucking retard. Reggie is a fucking retard.
What?
If I could say this, if I could get on a mic or a megaphone, I would.
I was gonna say you are on a mic.
I know. If I get a megaphone, I would scream this to the mountains.
Fucking Jimmy, the mouth of the South Heart over here.
Oh, I wish. Is he a fucking retard?
Reggie's a retard!
Dude, what? I'll ask you guys. Let's see how stupid he is. What did he do in this fucking movie that he should have learned his lesson from the last fucking movie with chicks?
Again?
What did he do again? What did he do twice that made his penis dry for the rest of the night?
Oh, he opened his big fucking mouth.
Right. Didn't we just go over this? Do we have to say this again?
No, we don't. If they don't know by now, fuck them. How many? No.
Ugh.
No, man. The game is to be sold, not told.
Be cool. You don't bring up your corny shit about your weirdo self. You do not talk about the tall man when you're about to bang some broad. Shut up.
He can't help himself. And did you guys realize that little callback when he had the guitar and he had to play it on in front of the fireplace?
Oh yeah, how about that?
I noticed it when I read your notes.
Oh, you did see my peeky notes. Yeah, you said you got to peek at those fuckers. Yeah.
Dave goes, look at my notes for this one.
Wow.
I'm gonna spoil all your jokes, by the way.
Go ahead, say them all.
Wait, what was one of them? Hang to the left. Hang to the left.
A little to the left, I guess.
Yeah, a little to the left, to the left. Put your dick in a box to the left. While Reggie does not get laid once again, so he's losing his game because he's obsessed with some tall guy. He gets so by the way, so he doesn't bang this chick. No, he instead he goes to bed dreaming about the tall guy that he cannot stop talking about. So it's almost like Loomis with Michael Myers in a way.
You're right.
He's like obsessed with this guy. He's like, Jesus, if he weren't so tall, we could 69 and it wouldn't be uncomfortable. So he dreams about the tall man, and we finally get Angus Scrimm in the movie. I am gonna say this with no reservations. I think Angus Scrimm is better in this movie than any of the other Phantasms.
Oh, wow.
I liked him more here than ever. I felt I really got a taste of his character. I felt I got a taste of the development, and it's weird. It seems it almost lowered him in a way because he spoke like a regular person in a way, but it was more personal in a way. I enjoyed Angus Scrimm more here. The tall man's character really was completely fleshed out here, and I actually enjoyed every single one of his scenes way more than I ever was impacted before. Am I crazy?
I do really like the way he interacted, the way he actually had real conversations, and said things other than, it's not over, it's never over, or boy. I mean, he actually had real conversations, and I thought that was a nice thing,
Yeah.
Although I got to say, the first time we saw him and he's in the bed, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I was afraid that was, because I know that Angus was really, really old and sick by the time that, at the point, he'd gotten to the point at conventions where he was basically in a wheelchair all the time or sitting down all the time. Like,
man.
He couldn't stand up for very long at a time. So I was like, oh no, is this what the tall man is relegated to? Like, are we going to get pretty much this for the entire film? And he was up and about later on, so that was good. But I felt there was a realness to him that we haven't really gotten before.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of tore down the wall of mystery and said, look, we're at the end of the rope here with this shit. I'm gonna let you guys know what's really happening. And it's weird, he treated Reggie as if he was somewhat important and had some kind of power of some...
He had sort of a mutual respect.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like... I always appreciate it any time a villain has respect for their adversary. I just think that's cool, and I feel like that was there, like I feel like Reggie had earned his admiration,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Unfortunately, Dawn gets drilled, but not by Reggie. She gets drilled by one of the balls. So Dave Z is happy as a pig in horseshit to see another person get spiked and drilled out. Right, Dave?
Yeah, bring them on, man. Absolutely. Bring those balls. Spears. They're spears. Spears.
Oh, sphere. You mean sphere?
Spears, yeah.
In this whole sequence, those spheres look faker than ever. They are just... It couldn't be a cheaper CGI if you tried.
Oh, they're good. They're good. Believe me. There's a lot of shit.
Oh, yeah, I guess, like the birds or whatever that is.
Oh, dude, tons. Just watch any of those fucking sci-fi movies or or any Asylum movie or shit like that. Oh, yeah, dude. I don't watch them. I just see bits and pieces. That's enough for me to know I'm not going to watch them.
Well, at this point, it goes overkill with this whole ball sphere drilling head thing. Like we said, it gets the horse, it gets the farmhand. I mean, and it supposedly it circles around and just kills all their animals. It kills the daily pig. It kills a goat. I don't know. It just never stops. So Mike, they're back on the bench, and Mike knows nothing about any of this. I am bewildered at this point. I don't know. Mike was always the one spouting off about the tall man and everybody else. Oh, your brother didn't die by that. He died in a car accident. And now it's completely reversed. I'm just like, I don't know what is happening. Despite what I said in the last two reviews, I actually am now embracing Reggie as the main character. I actually, somehow, throughout this whole journey, he won me over, and I am all for him being the main character now. Because remember how I always felt like, why aren't Mike and Jody the main character suddenly? Because, Reggie was just their friend in the first movie. As soon as I became okay with Reggie being the main character, suddenly they perfectly integrate Mike into this movie when he stops being a douche on a bench telling Reggie he's crazy, and instead Mike is fighting the battle. Then it's seamless. The two of them are a great combination in this movie, right? I mean, did you not feel totally fulfilled that having them come together and do this together after...
I did. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was cool.
I've always been a big fan of Mike, though, is the thing, and which is one reason I was never that crazy about part 2. It also is part of the reason that, I feel his absence whenever he's not around very much. I was getting kind of sad that the only thing we were seeing of him was him sitting on this bench. But
yeah, right. If you thought that would be it, yeah, it is kind of depressing.
But then when he got, more into the story and it was like they were side by side again, I was very, very happy.
How odd is it that they took the time to dye Reggie's hair back and forth, but they wouldn't do that for the tall man in the last movie?
Thank you. I said we had that big long conversation about it. It still stands.
Yeah. Oh, I stand by that. Yeah. And the tall man's hair is actually completely different. It's like he cut it now.
Mm-hmm. He has a more modern day haircut.
Yeah, like a guy who's like an overlord of a galactic dimensional thing. He actually wonders about how long his hair should. Like, okay, this time take about 3 inches off the back. Why would he change his hairstyle? Right? Like, how weird is that?
Well, it's weird anyway, because if how many old men do you know that still wear the same hairstyle they had in 1956? It's like they pick a hairstyle when they're in their 30s, and then it just is that until they lose it or they die.
Right.
It's the same, like Andy Griffith, same fucking haircut since his whole life. My dad, same haircut his whole life. It's just they finally settle on one their grown-up haircut, and then that's it.
And then it becomes like desperate, like they're trying to hold on to when they were 30.
Yeah, like Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother story. The blonde bitch in the morgue comes back, and that's who stabbed Reggie in the stomach and killed him. And it's odd to me that why would you show that? Because Reggie died and just mysteriously came back in part 3. Why are you showing... Or I think it was at part 1 that she did that. Why are you showing us an inconsistency?
Why is that an inconsistency?
Because Reggie died in every movie until you got to the last few. And then I guess they realized, well, we kind of like this guy. Let's keep bringing him back. But he technically died.
Because it's a dream. That's why. That's further proof. That's further proof. All that shit can happen in a dream. So, yeah. Yes, because Reggie.
So now Dawn is Jane, like we said. And now she's with a midget. I like how this midget is the most obnoxious pseudo-hero you could ever stuff into a movie. Like, this midget acts like he's better than Reggie somehow, and in reality, he's half the man Reggie is. No, seriously though, he is like, our joke is Baldy and Skullet. Like, where does he come off saying this shit? And why does he keep talking down to Reggie when Reggie is supposed to be this fucking badass? Like, we all know that. So it would almost be like somebody coming into one of our favorite movies of, like, I don't know who
like
you...
shit talking Tom Atkins?
Yeah, right, exactly. And calling him, hey, drunko, hey, asshole, hey, fucking alcoholic, over here. And we're like, wait, why are you talking to our guy like that? And why is he putting up with this? Why doesn't he just punt this asshole across the room? I don't understand what this is all about, why we're downplaying Reggie in a movie where he's arguably more badass than usual.
Yeah. I don't know. To be honest, this is the part where I kind of wasn't there. I wasn't paying attention to a whole lot of what he said. I did notice that I thought the little midget was cute. Like, not puppy dog cute. Like, I thought he was actually, like, good looking. I think I referred to him as ruggedly handsome.
Oh, my God.
I did. I thought he was cute. Then beyond that, I just kind of didn't care. So, I mean, I was kind of in and out. I had a gist of what was going on. Like, I knew what was happening overall, but I wasn't paying attention to the minutia of their conversation.
Well, see, one interesting aspect is that midget actually speaks to our podcasts. And Reggie mentioned something about how nothing makes any sense and everything's confusing. And then the midget has a Montgomery moment and he says, deal with it.
He did, you're right.
He says, just suck it up and deal with it. So he's kind of speaking to us by saying, listen, this is all wacky and it's supposed to be trippy, you idiots. Deal with it. Just ride the wave, man. You're not supposed to know. I don't think anybody knows what the fuck. I don't think Reggie or Mike or anybody, they seem like they're in control. They seem like they understand. They seem like they know what their mission is. But, you know, what does that mean? They're just here in the moment and they're reacting at that second.
Well, their mission has been exactly the same for 37 years. Their mission is traveling around trying to kill the tall man ineffectually. So, they know what it is. They just have not been able to accomplish it. It's been the same thing over and over and over again.
It is odd. It really is odd. Where, it's funny, we kind of mentioned the last two movies, there's no forward progress here, but in the reality of all this, there is no progress whatsoever from the first minute of the first movie to the last minute of this one. I mean,
there isn't. And I said that when we're watching this movie. I mean, you get a little bit of closure, I guess, at the end, and then it depends on which way you want to look at it, and etc. But really, nothing more has actually happened.
Right, in any of the movies. It's just entertain yourself and shut up. And that's all, you know. Yeah, so Mike says Reggie's been on ice for a decade, ever since they blew the tall man up at the desert. So when Mike made his mind, which he apparently has no more mind powers in this movie, he made his mind blow up a hearse next to the tall man. Ever since like that moment or around that time, Reggie has been in that thing with the things around his head, strapped down to a table.
Right. That would actually have made sense in the context of a normal film.
So
Sure.
why would Reggie be on ice? What does that even mean? Didn't he? What did he do at the end of the last movie?
Didn't they just all drive away together?
Yeah, I thought it was something like that.
Yeah, and then they showed them driving. Yeah, they drove away twice. They showed the flashback, and then they showed the other one. So they were driving away. So he shouldn't have been on ice because did something bad happen to him? I don't remember that.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Either way, he was on ice. I guess they put him in the frozen carbonite. You know.
Yeah. So, Reggie seems to be the only guy who's sentimental about any of this, and he's like, "It's really great to see you again, man. God, it's like old times." Blah blah to Mike, and he keeps on gushing, which is nice. But Mike's not having it hardly, and he's just, "Yeah, you too, man." And so he goes, "It's great to be home, Mike." And he goes, "It's kind of weird. It's not really our home anymore. It's his." And then you get...
Awesome. This shit was great.
It was great, and then they opened the doors, and I loved it. However...
All of it I loved. I didn't care about the CG being a little shoddy like.
That's what I was gonna... Yeah.
I didn't even care. It was the concept of it was fucking great. The big giant spears and the fucking...
Oh, that was amazing.
All that shit out there. Granted, it didn't look great. It kind of some of it looked like video. I felt like I was watching a video game, like a PS4 game, like an intro to a game or something. But I pushed that aside and enjoyed what they were doing with it. Just the fact that...
Yeah, I actually liked that too. One effect that I actually enjoyed quite a bit was when he was talking about the plague, where people's heads swelled until they exploded, the guy's head explodes. I actually liked that. I thought that was kind of cool. I didn't think it was really necessary. I think kind of big balls taking over is enough. But I didn't really feel like you needed to add a plague on top of all that. But,
Yeah, what was that all about?
I did like that whole part at the end, and I agree it looked a little wonky, but I liked the idea that, like, he's stepping out into this, like, oh, shit. And that you see, like, other people in the street fight. And, this is like an all-over thing, Yeah,
the balls are taking down the building, taking over the world. That was cool.
Mm-hmm. Very.
As I was watching this, I was so into it. They mentioned 1979 at some point, and it occurred to me, isn't it so great? Well, I know it's not exactly the same for you guys, but maybe it's just great for me, I guess. I got lucky with this one. This has all been going on for 37 years, and I didn't have to wait for any of it. Like, I never had to wait 18 years for the next movie. I never...
Right. It's been a great month. Absolutely, man. I'm with you. Everything, just watching them all right now, the fact that we're doing the retro now, and that, I didn't remember 3. I only saw it once, but then I watched 3, then I watched 4, and now it's 5 right in a row. It was great. I didn't question anything about my enjoyment until tonight, because a lot of the observations are making me more confused. But as I was watching the movie, I was just accepting it, and I really wasn't that confused. Thinking about it now, like all the stuff you're bringing up, is kind of, it has my head spinning a little bit. But as I'm watching the film, it didn't happen at all. I was just along for the ride, like I have been pretty much the whole way.
I'm just glad you guys enjoyed the series as much as you did.
Yeah, it's. Yeah. I want to thank everybody for voting on this, and I'll be honest with you guys. Both of you don't know this, but believe it or not, this has been the most sought-after retrospective for years on the Skeleton Crew. It's like famously known for everybody always asking us to do Phantasm. Like, you wouldn't even really believe how many people have asked this. I got emails all the time about people asking us to do this. It's weird because I did something really weird. There's this guy. His name is Heath Berkheimer. He wrote an email to me called Phantasm Films on September 26, 2015. And he was asking me about, do you guys think you'll ever do this? He was one of the more recent people, or the ones I at least have saved on some level, I guess, because it's on my email. I didn't delete it. And 1 year later, I was able to write to him. I responded and wrote, "Hey, dude, so we decided to do that." You know, it was like kind of funny to write that like a year later. And he was like, "Oh, cool, man. Hope all is well. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out." Or else he knew about it. I guess he's still listening. But yeah, this is everybody wanted us to always cover Phantasm, and it's like I said, it's one of those things that are swept under the rug. And I'm really glad that it's been put in the forefront. And as I was watching this movie, God, I got so fanboy with it, and I said, "Man, I want to watch all of these again." I was thinking, hopefully, I'll understand them better. Or, you know, things like that, or I'll read up on them on the IMDb shit, and then I'll watch them with that knowledge and that kind of stuff. Yeah, Jamie, I'm thrilled that Dave and I have had such a great time, and I know you're more hit or miss, and half this and half that, but I think you haven't seemed down on the series as a whole. I think you enjoy it for the most part, I guess, right?
No, I do. I really do. The only one I was really down on, like really, was this one. And, I mean, the more we talked about it, the more I remember the things that I actually did like about it. I really liked the beginning. I really liked the end. It was mainly just the middle there that lost me.
With Dawn.
Lost me hardcore. But,
I'm going to make a sandwich.
I would like to watch it again and give it another shot, because I think I should.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, why not?
No doubt, man.
I didn't mean to sound so grumpy in the beginning, but I mean, I know I came off super grumpy. I don't know. I mean, the fact is, I really didn't. I wasn't excited about watching it. I didn't think we needed it.
Yeah, you said that.
You know, that's all true. I didn't want to. I didn't want it. I was done with this. I enjoy the series, but I was happy to be done with it, you know. Just like with Terminator, for instance, I don't need them to keep making Terminators. I need them to stop making Terminators is what I need them to do.
Yeah, part 2 is perfect.
Yeah, leave it. Stop it. Quit. I don't want any more.
So, now we're at the end of the movie. Here is the most baffling moment of my life. I do not understand this, and I take umbrage with the choice here. It is, I think, disrespectful. I think it's totally out of place and totally, like, out of left field. And nothing about this even, it doesn't connect at all. It should not have happened at all. I'll explain. Okay. We get to the end, where they're in this, like, red world or whatever. Tall Man literally explains to these two that there are hundreds of thousands of him. Even if you shoot me right now, all you'll be doing is killing a skin bag, or bag of skin, whatever he calls it. It's a waste. You can't do anything. Okay. Now, a zillion things go wrong after that moment. Well, not a zillion. I guess one major. After saying that, a midget runs over to him, pulling grenade clips off of his body, jumps on Tall Man and blows him up. The two things that went through my mind are, number one, I guess you did not hear, you were daydreaming or something when he just...
That's what I said!
Yeah. He just got, like, what were you thinking? Were you listening to something? Like, were you had your headphones on?
Oh, he wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, you were not paying attention. He just told you, no matter what you physically do to him, it means nothing. So why would you kill yourself in order to kill his one of 100,000 bodies?
Well, why does he have to believe him? He might be bullshitting him.
Well, here's the thing. We know that that's true, though.
Well, yeah, we do, but that fucking little guy didn't.
Isn't he, like, best buddies with Mike? Wouldn't Mike have told him this in all this time they've been together fighting this war?
Or are you going to sacrifice yourself on the off chance that he could be lying?
Right.
I would think he would be lying.
Then
why would that make sense?
What does it matter to you? If you're dead, like if you just blew yourself up, then nothing. And then it doesn't matter if he's lying or not, because you're fucking dead. You don't care.
Yeah, if you're going to die, it better be for an absolute fact reason or a fact of truth or something. You just don't do that like, oh, well, he could be pulling my chain here.
Well, yeah. Well, of course he would be pulling your chain. Wouldn't you say anything to prevent yourself from dying, especially if you're a lying asshole, an evil person, whatever to begin with? Anybody would say that to save their skin. Oh, go ahead. Even if you kill me, he's basically saying, don't bother killing me because it's just going to be a waste of your time. Why? You know what I'm saying? Why would you believe that? I would think he's full of shit too.
But Reggie and Mike would have went. They obviously have reason to believe it. They didn't dispute it or anything. They just kind of accept it. Like, well, I guess so because we've been doing this for 37 fucking years. Nothing's.
They're like, oh, that makes sense.
Well, if they would have done that, that would have been fucked up. But because the little guy did it, I'm okay with it.
Okay. So here's my next problem. Not only is he stupid, or like you said, just didn't believe him, whatever. Do you not think it's a little disrespectful that we've been taking a journey for 37 years with these characters, and the big ta-da grand finale ending is some asshole, disrespectful midget that just appears in the last 40 minutes of a film? He gets the credit of taking down the tall man? That would be like Tommy Jarvis battling Jason for 5 movies in a row, and then like some smart ass new like Justin Bieber comes in and then somehow kills Jason, and it actually ends there. Like there's something wrong with this.
Yeah, but he didn't take out the tall man.
Well, no, but I mean, I see what you mean, like the big moment. I didn't like the fact that at the end of the film, like at the very, very end, we spend the majority of the time with him and Part 3 chick, Rocky.
And why do we care that he can't control his sexual? He's preoccupied with sex the whole time.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I don't care about him wanting to grab her boob.
Right.
I don't care about any of that. These are not the characters that need to be ending this film. And then, of course, when the car pulls up at the rendezvous, there's Reggie. He gets one line. They jump in the car, and then that's it. And I'm like, seriously? This is you spent the majority of the end of this film with these two assholes? I don't care.
And then we're supposed to be, again, thrilled that Jody's back. And apparently he's now trustworthy, which he was just not a movie ago. I'm just completely confused here. And to the point where it's an almost unsatisfied type of confused. And like you said, so, wait, we just got done with this emotional scene where Reggie apparently died on some level, and these two were holding his hand, and that was very actually emotional. And I guess I didn't get broken up over it or even like choked up, because although I like all these guys, I'm not emotionally attached at this point. So it didn't do that to me, but I could see how it would to other people. But once that's done, we're going to goof around with a midget with one hand grabbing a random character from 2 movies ago's tits and listen to him negotiate a sexual relationship or some kind of relationship. Like, well, there's no one else around. I guess you'll do for now. Like, what are we doing? Like, what is this the end? And at that point, the credits already hit, so it's the fucking end.
You know what it feels like? It feels like they're trying, like in any other series, if you didn't know this was the end, you would feel like they were trying to set up new characters to continue a series.
That's what I thought, and that's why in the beginning of this I said, this is the end, right, guys? Because I was wondering if one of you were going to say, like, well, I don't know, the way they fucking ended this thing, who God only knows what they have in store for the next thing.
Right, and they better fucking not. I mean, that would be, no, you can't do that. But that is what it felt like. It felt like an attempt. And stop it. What are you doing? We don't care about these people.
Right, yeah. Get ready for the adventures of Rocky and the Midget. No. Like the only reason we're putting up with Phantasm 5 is because Angus Scrimm died. If he did not die, I'd actually wonder why we're doing this. And I would have wondered if he was alive today, probably. But since he died, it actually kind of puts some kind of, like, monumental, some kind of...
closure?
Yeah. I mean, like, him dying really makes us feel like, wow, we're lucky enough to get this one last movie. But no, I mean, if he was alive and then that's how it ended, I'd be like, are these jackoffs gonna fight him now? I don't want to see that.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I totally agree.
Yeah, so I don't know. Dave, how do you feel about that entire... apparently you're okay with the midget because you said his thought process is legit, but beyond that, what do you think?
What, that you think that took out the tall man? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, why did you say it didn't? What did I blink my eyes at? Is the tall man alive still?
Well, I mean, he said, you can't kill me. There's hundreds of thousands or whatever,
Yeah, he says, you can't kill me, and he says, freaking, that's my subject, and all that other shit, you're not even real, you're my bad dream. It's just, it's taking it to another level. It's all... I don't know if if you look at it all as a dream, which it very well may be all Reggie's dream, then none of it really matters anyway. So what's the difference? That's what I'm saying. Because of that conclusion that we get to with Reggie and showing him in bed and flatlining and all that other stuff, well, I mean, what else are we supposed to think?
I don't know. It's another thing where I enjoyed it, but I don't know what's going on. So what, Reggie dreamed up this Rocky and Midget interaction?
Yeah, because why would they be together? Rocky hasn't been seen since part 3, and by the way, she looks so much better now than she did in the 90s. I don't know how.
She does.
Right?
Yes, she does.
Wow, I couldn't believe it. Holy shit, yeah. So she got better with age. Wow,
Yeah, I give her a poke.
Right, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's true as far as, like, what, but she hasn't been around, so why would they be together?
Yeah.
Except why would he be... Dude, I don't know.
They wanted to put it... You know what it is? Instead of ending it on just a sour note of, him being in the bed and that whole thing with Jody and that's it, they wanted to just go out with one more little action sequence battle. Like, the battle's never really going to end, even though... It kind of has. I mean, depending on what you want to believe. That's what I think, that was just kind of like an after credits nod. Like, okay, let's do this for fun. It's like, Ash saying groovy at the end of the Evil Dead remake or something. It's just something for fun, and let's have them guys battling when the credits roll. That, you know what I mean? That's how I look at it. I didn't think too deeply about it because you really can't think too deeply about anything after part 1 in the series. So why pick on this movie? It's just, that's how I look at it.
Yeah. I can see that.
It's Reggie. It's all in Reggie's head. For years, we've been told that it's all in Mike's head, but they flipped us on our asses and said, "Oh, it's actually all been in Reggie's head." And I think that's what the fans wanted because, like we discussed it before, everybody's Reggie. Nobody gives a shit about Mike. Everybody's always talking about Reggie. So I think this was for the fans. Let's make it all about Reggie again, and ultimately it was.
They just did everything right with Reggie. Even though Jamie don't think so, the whole thing with Dawn and all that stuff. But I was on board, I was actually wondering if he's going to get laid and stuff. And I didn't think the execution was as well, like the way it was so instantaneous. Like as soon as he gets to her house, he's proposing her for sex. And she's like, dude, I don't know. And then he comes on, and what I got was that he was saying, oh no, I'm not saying that. I was just saying I was going to write a song about you. And then she's like, okay. And then she leaves, and then he goes to write it, and it's all weird. He forgot her name. And then she comes back downstairs. She goes, hey, Reggie, you know what? On second thought, or whatever she said, as if she was going to have sex with him, but he's sleeping. So I think she could have woke him up by sucking his dick, but that's what I think.
And you know what? To have Rocky and the little guy together, it only makes sense that would be in Reggie's mind because he knew the two of them. He knew them from his long extended dream, if you will, or whatever you want to call it. That's how I look at it. It's one of those endings that, see, it's not as definitive as I thought. I remember Jason saying that there was a definitive ending and he was happy with it. So when the credits hit, like I said, I was like, what the fuck? That's not definitive. What happened here? Then, like I said, the next day, which was yesterday, I thought I was, at work, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? It's actually kind of cool. It was all in Reggie's head. That's freaking a great way to explain everything that's happened in the series that we've questioned. Now it's boom. It's explained away with something so simple.
For what Alex mentioned in the very beginning is if it was all in Reggie's head, how is it still in his head after he's dead?
Right. It's impossible.
Well,
I mean, the dream, if you will, I'm using air quotes here. Well, I'm not actually, because no one can see them, but, visualize air quotes. The dream sequences continue on after Reggie dies. So if that was all in his head, why are we still seeing this? Why is it still happening?
Well, he's not really dead.
Unless you're saying there's perhaps a consciousness that continues on after death. I mean, which would kind of make sense as far as why would it matter if he were stealing dead bodies and turning them into midgets going all the way back to the very first movie? Why would that matter if there was no consciousness, if he wasn't doing anything harmful to a real person? So if your consciousness completely goes away once you die, then it doesn't matter what he does to your body. It doesn't matter that he turns you into a midget. Who cares? But so if perhaps, this is so convoluted, but I mean, if perhaps what he's been saying the whole time is that once you're dead, your consciousness remains on some level, then perhaps it is possible that Reggie's dementia will continue after he dies. However, if he is saying that, then that means that adds some validity to the story of the tall man, because in order for that to be true, the whole midget thing would have to be a reality. Wait, I think I just confused myself.
Or it's none of that shit, and death doesn't mean anything because it's one giant dream. It's one giant existence. It's like the tall man's hell, if you will. That's what Reggie is in. So if you believe in some type of
thing, how could he control his hell, though?
What do you mean? That's exactly what he does. This is just a punishment.
Say they're alternate universes or alternate realities.
I'd like to,
at any given time, it's there all of these things are happening all at the same time. And in one reality, her name is Jane. In one reality, her name is Dawn.
Right. I think there's a significance to that. I really think I touched on something that we're just not getting right now, but I think there is a point to that.
That's the theory I'm going with. That's what I've actually settled into, is that all of this is happening. It's all real. It's just on different levels.
No. How about this? Reggie got killed at the end of Phantasm, Part 1, 1979. Remember we saw him die? That's when he really died. Then the tall man took over his, whatever you want to call it, his mortal soul, whatever, and this is all him fucking with them for 4 more movies. Then it makes perfect sense. We saw him die at the end of Part 1.
Actually, that's not bad. I kind of like that. Okay. Maybe he didn't die. Maybe he was comatose or invalid. Not invalid. He was an invalid.
he was an invalid.
So Jody and Mike have been watching over him all this time.
Yes.
And then he dies for real at the here. Fuck it. I don't know.
That's exactly what happened. And that bullshit at the end was just for fun. That's all that was.
So all these other movies was him being locked in his own head.
Yes.
All these years.
We should do a Return to Phantasm show in a while. I think what we should do is do all the research and go through everything any source we have, and put it all together, take amazing notes, and then we can go over this as one big discussion.
All in one giant show?
Yeah.
Just cover the entire arc in one fell swoop. That's actually not a bad idea.
I think it needs it.
I don't think it does. I think we've just figured it out. I think what I said about him getting killed at the end of 1 and add Jamie's to it, and it's either one of those two. That's it. We got this, baby. We got this by gas.
I honestly think, and this has been the beauty of this series the entire time, is I really think it just doesn't matter. I mean, I think you can do with it whatever the you want.
And
it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I mean, just see it however you want to see it, however makes you happy. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, this entire series has been nothing but ambiguity. See it how you want to see it. And then I think it's interesting to see what other people see. I have been fascinated by just talking to you guys about it and bouncing things off Brian when I'm watching it with him. And, you know, Mike Merriman, it just various people. That fascinates me to no end. You know, Gary Hill. I was like, by the way, Gary was extremely emotional when he watched this. He watched it 3 times in 2 days.
What, this last one?
Yeah. He was very emotional about this film. Like, it really tugged at him. Interestingly, not the first time he saw it, but the second time he saw it, it hit him really hard emotionally. And I just think that's cool. I think it's very fascinating to see how different people are taking this in. I love the fact that Matt was all about this movie. You know, like he really enjoyed it. I just think that's super fascinating to me. Probably more fascinating than the film itself is talking to people about the film. Okay, definitely more fascinating than that, because I'll tell you, I had more fun tonight than I did watching it.
Oh, good. Well, hey, that's what the show. We're here to reproduce something that's already entertainment, and we're going to reproduce into another form of entertainment. So hopefully that worked out. Real quick, just a side note. We talked about it earlier. I looked it up. The lady in lavender is what she's referred to. That chick that banged Mike in Jody in the cemetery in part 1. And you saw her here, and Dave said, I don't know if it's the same chick, but yeah, it is exactly her. She was only in 4 movies, and 3 of them were Phantasm movies. You might not know it, but she was in Phantasm 3, and her role there was attending nurse. So let's keep an eye out next time we watch Phantasm 3. Yeah.
I thought that was her. I mean, I thought that was the same chick. Yeah, well, not from 3, but I mean, it was.
For this one, yeah.
It was definitely the same lavender chick, and it's because you could tell they were pulling everyone out of the woodwork for this one that they possibly could. You know, I mean, they pulled out Rocky. And that was kind of neat. That was a callback to fans of Part 3. You know, even though I didn't really care about her being in this movie, it was neat that they did it.
Yeah, and how cool is it that Phantasm is, like, right now remastered and being released on Sci-Fi tonight while we're recording this last one. Oh, I you know what? It's not that crazy. It's all because of this movie. Here I am thinking like a retrospective tied into all this stuff. No, it's just the new movie. Okay. Never mind. We're not that important. I thought we were for 5 seconds. So that's okay. How do you rate this movie, Jamie, out of 5? You could just use the words if it's easier for you. It's either like, really like, or love.
Oh, I noticed you didn't give me anything below that. It was like, you could say like it, really like it, or love it. Those are your choices. That's all you get.
Wow, you're going for a 1 or a 2 here?
No. As it stands right now, until I watch it again, and I will. This is just a 3. About it, there was enough about it at the beginning and the end to make me actually like it, in spite of the fact that I wanted to set myself on fire during the middle.
Dave Z?
I am coming in.
Coming in hot.
Right. 3.5, 3.5.
Wow.
Another 3.5 for this series. Everything in this series is 3 or 3.5, except the first one, which is the 5. But.
Well, just so you guys know, on IMDb, this is getting a 5.6 so far. So people do not like it.
Well, yeah, but for horror, that's not bad.